All right, here we go. Our last free response recap for you here. This is week 5, question 1. Here we go. Okay, so there's one class we're dealing with here, the word scrambler class. Okay, it's kind of a, I don't know, we're not in a hurry. Got 20 minutes. Okay, kind of a weird class. Let's talk about it a little bit. So it has one instance variable, which is a private array of strings called scrambled words. There's a constructor that takes a string of words and sets scrambled words to a method we're going to write in a few minutes, mix words from that array of the string array of words. Okay, so we're going to fill this instance variable by calling a method. And then there's two methods we're writing. The first one's a private method, meaning that it's only going to be used within this class, not really a big deal. Okay, recombine, that accepts two strings. The last one will return the string array. It's mixed words. Okay, basically this is what's going to be used in the constructor. Strange setup. Again, we're not in a hurry. Let's make sure we kind of get what's going on here. Okay, part A, write the word scrambler method, recombine. Okay, this method returns a string created from its two string parameters as follows. Take the first half of word 1, take the second half of word 2, and concatenate the two halves and return the new string. So in other words, if I have word 1 and word 2, we're going to cut them in half, put them together. Here's the AP from apple. Here's the AR from pear. Note that if a word has an odd number of lengths, the second half of the word contains the extra letter. Okay. Pretty straightforward. All right, method header you can copy and paste. It's set up for you. Pay attention to those. What am I returning? A string. So string, I think I called it result, or the answer key called it result. I like saying return string. But let's say right off the bat that's equal to nothing. And I'm going to return that at the end. I didn't really think through this beforehand. I'm trying to model what's happening here. Okay, so I'm taking two word parameters and I want to take half of those. What do we mean by half? Well, we'll just kind of guess at it. This is a good one where we can kind of guess and check a little bit. It'd be great to have an actual compiler to run this and actually plug it into Java, but we'll kind of write something out and check how things go as we go. I'm going to make another string called first. I'm going to say that's equal to word1 dot substring. Okay, so it's a substring of word 1, and I want it to be the first half of it. So in other words, running from 0 to I need the first half, so that's going to deal with the length. I need half the length. So let's try this. Let's just say word1 dot length with a parentheses because we're talking string divided by 2. I think that's going to work. Let's check that. Okay, it looks like based on this example, the first half of apple is just the first two letters. Okay, note that the odd number, if a word has an odd number of letters, the second half of the word contains the extra letters. Okay, so we just want these first two. Well, let's see what happens when we plug that, kind of run this. What does our first string end up as? Well, that's going to run from 0 to length divided by 2. What is the length of this? Well, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, what's 5 divided by 2? That would be an integer division of 2. Okay, 2.5, truncate the 5, so 2. So in other words, our substring is going to go 0, 1, 2. Substring doesn't include the last index, so that will give me just the AP. Yep, so that does work for me. Okay. If it didn't work, maybe I add one to it, maybe I subtract one to it. I got lucky. Okay, and that's kind of the way I'd approach this. Write something out and think your way through it. Make sure it works with the example. Okay, same thing here. We can try a second example. Pair. Looks like the first half of it is PE. Okay, length is 4. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Again, 0, 1, 2. Yep, we're going to leave off the A. Okay, so we should be good with that. All right, I'm going to do the same thing with the second part. We'll say string second equals word 2 dot substring. And where do I want to start? I want to start at the last half. Let's just try the same thing we just did. Word 2 dot length divided by 2. Okay, with my substring method, I don't need to fill in that second parameter. If I don't fill it in, it's just going to get the rest of the word, which is what I'm shooting for here. Okay, so that's nice. You don't need to worry about going to figuring out the length that you're going to and subtracting 1. Okay, it's just going to take the rest of it. And let's see how this works. Okay, for pair, I want the AR. All right, length of pair is 4. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Okay, 0, 1, 2. Yep, so 2 on out. We're good. Okay, for apple, I want the PLE. Length is 5. 5 divided by 2 is 2.5, which is 2 in integer division. 0, 1, 2. Yep, we get the rest of it. Okay, cool. So that's going to work for us. As I think about this, I don't need this first string. I'm just going to return these concatenated to each other. Okay, nice thing about this exam is it's easy to delete. If we're talking about taking a written exam, you just cross things off. But okay, cutting stuff out is pretty simple. I changed my mind in the middle. All right, I'm just going to return the string made up of first plus second. So return first plus second. Okay, we should be good to go. If you want to have an original string definition and return that and construct as you go, that's fine. Okay, I changed my mind halfway through, which is something that happens as you program. All right, cool. Let's move on to part B. Write the word scrambler method, mixed words. This method creates and returns a new array of string objects as follows. Okay, it takes the first pair of strings and words and combines them to produce a pair of strings to be included in the array returned by the method. Okay, if this pair of strings consists of W1, W2, the method should include the results of calling recombine, which we just wrote, with 1 and 2 as arguments, and should also include the results of calling recombine of word 2 and word 1 as arguments. Okay, so flip the order. And then it's just saying that process continues. Okay, so for example, if the array words contain these, apple, pear, this, cat, then the call mix words should return the following array: a par, which is created by the first half of apple and the second half of pear. Whatever this is, created by that in reverse. And then this and cat are combined to create that. And in the other order, cat and this are combined together to create the kiss there. Okay, so essentially we're just going to go through the string array that's passed in, call recombine on each of its parts, and use that to create a new array. In writing mixed words, you must call recombine to receive full credit, so make a note of that. Yeah, let's do this. I could probably leave that spelt wrong and still get credit. All right. So first thing I want to do is, again, pay attention to the method header. I want to return an array of strings. And that's going to be the big thing that this method's filling up. So let's create that here. String array. If we're talking about words, we want to scramble them. I'm just going to call that scrambled. What is that going to be? Well, what do we do when we start creating an array? We size it. So let's say it's a new string array. And how big do I want it to be? Well, if I look at my example here, I want it to be the same size as the parameter that I'm passing in. Okay, so we'll say its size is words.length. Okay, so right there I just created an empty array of strings, okay, ready with enough spots to hold everything in words.length. And this part's a little tricky and a little fun. We're going to loop through either of these two arrays. Let's say in I equals 0 to I less than words.length. Okay, or we could loop through scramble. They have the same length. But I'm going to think about it as words because that's when we'll be pulling things from. And then this one's a little tricky. I'm going to be looking at words two at a time. So what I want to do is kind of consider the apple and the pear at the same time. That's going to give me my first two elements of the return string. And then I'm going to skip ahead to this. So I'm not going to worry about pear and this paired up. I'm going to skip ahead and look at this and cat. So usually where we'd go I plus plus, in other words, count up by 1 every time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say I plus equals 2 to, in other words, count up by 2's every time. So I'm going to look at an element, and we'll kind of deal with the next element within the loop, and then we'll skip ahead 2 to the, the second one in line. Could also say I is equal to I plus 2. Either of those would work. We'll say I plus equals 2 because it's a little more compact. What do I want to do then? For each I want to assign the scrambled. So I'm going to say scrambled. Whoa, caps lock. Scramble at I is equal to, what do I want it to be equal to? I want the first element of scramble to be equal to the first two elements of words combined. Okay, and how am I going to do that? Well, I'm going to use my recombine method. I'm going to say it's equal to the string that recombine gives me when I plug in the first two words from words. So in other words, words at I and words at I plus 1. Okay, this is a great question to get you thinking about indexes. We were indexing a string up above. Okay, we're looking at indexes of arrays down below here. Okay, so that's going to take care of my first slot. But now what I also want to do is in the next slot, I want to fill that with recombined the first two elements of words in the opposite order then. So again, great index question. So I'm going to fill scrambled of I plus 1 with recombine. And I'm just going to do those same two words in reverse order. Words I plus 1, comma, words I. Okay, that's just going to flip the order of the way things get recombined from. Okay, so what that's going to do when I is 0, it's going to knock off index 0 and index 1. We're counting up by 2's then, so that's going to skip ahead to the next pair. Okay, so starting at index 2 and 3 with the I and the I plus 1. And what that's going to do is fill scrambled here. And then don't forget to return that. And then as far as how this relates to this kind of weird class is that the scrambled words instance variable gets assigned to the mixed words call. So that'll be assigned to that string array we're passing in. Yeah, and I think that's it for that one. Like I said, good example of how to use indexes with a few different things. How are we doing for time? Okay, I've got over 4 minutes left. I talked a lot. I think I started late. Okay, and I wrote 12 lines of code. Okay, make sure you understand the question before you actually start typing the code up. Yeah, let's say we're good.